Isso aqui, oh, é pouquinho de Brasil, ya. Hi, this is Fátima from Fibre, and today we're going to be talking about yarn. What's yarn? Yarn is fiber plus twist, okay? So I have a piece of fiber here. This is a merino top, and this is fiber. If I take the fiber and I just don't do anything, it will come apart, right? But if I get the same fiber and give it some twist, just 1 second. It's not even a lot of twist, but then it doesn't come apart anymore. It needs a little bit more twist. But if you see here, it's much firmer. So if I take the twist off, just comes apart. So that is basically what makes a yarn, fiber and twist. How you put the twist is what makes the difference in the yarns. So mostly we say that we have two kinds of yarns. We have more than two, but worsted and woolen. So they have different characteristics and you're going to use them for different uses. When you want to do a worsted yarn, that means that you're putting the twist in the fiber without having air to go through it. And I'm going to show you soon. When you're doing a woolen yarn, you are putting the fiber through or the twist in a way that you trap the air inside the fiber. Okay? So what is going to make a worsted or a woolen yarn or a semi-worsted or a semi-woolen yarn? It's the kind of preparation you have. There are different kinds of preparations. So this is a commercially bought merino top, okay? And this is a Beth that I made at home. And this is a woven that I prepared at home. It's fluffy. It's okay because I want it fluffy. Normally, commercially, it's easier for you. So normally, commercially, it's easier to buy tops. That's what they sell more. So here I have a Jacob top, and this is a Polworth fleece top. So it's easier. But sometimes you can find woven too. So woven in reality is a carded fiber that was splitted or was prepared, taken away from the carder as a woven. So this can be considered a woven. Okay? And I took it from my Beth. Now, I do love interweave and I love the videos that they have there. I'm going to put the name of the teacher that talks about spinning thin. And she gave me the perfect explanation why I should spin from my top if I wanted a worsted line. So this is a true top. Commercially it was prepared like this, okay? So what it means is that all the fibers are put in parallel and they're going to get in nicely. So one of the things that you know if it is a top or if it's a woven, when you take the fiber, you see it stays in a line because this was preparated with them in parallel. If you take my Beth or my woven here, and if I pull some of it, you see you don't have a uniform line. It's going to be different because this is a woven, and a woven I put all the fibers in different positions. Okay, so they are all messed up in there. For you to get a true worsted, you have to start it from a top. When you buy a top from a commercially comb top, the moment you wash it or dye it, the fibers will mess a little bit. So this is a top that I have dyed. Okay, it's BFL and silk. So the moment that I have washed them or dyed them, the fibers are a little bit fuzzed up. So why should you do worsted or why should you do woolen? Everything depends on what your final project is. So worsted yarns are going to be more durable and more resistant, okay? Because the way you are putting the fiber together, the way you put the twist, you don't let the twist get to the fiber. You're just keeping it as tight as possible. So it is a good yarn for you to make socks, for example. Socks need to be resistant because there's a lot of abrasion when you are walking and everything. So you wanted a worsted yarn. Now, I am doing a woolen sweater for myself, and I want it to be warm. If I want it to be warm, I want the yarn to trap air inside of it, because that's what's going to give me the insulation. So I'm going to spin woolen. But not everything is worsted or woolen. You can have something that is semi-woolen or semi-worsted. And how do you know what is one? It depends on how the fiber is prepared. So I can have a top and I can get a chunk of it and I make a sort of a row log on it, and I start spinning from here in a woolen way that is going to trap air inside the yarn. This is going to be a semi-worsted. Semi-worsted means a worsted preparation that is spun with a draft, a woolen draft. That makes a semi-worsted yarn. Now, if I get my woven that is a woolen preparation because the fibers are all over the place, and I start spinning in a way that I do not allow air to go through or to get in between the triangle and the source of fiber. So when I'm trapping the air here and I'm not allowing the twist get into this part of the fiber, so this is going to give me a worsted spinning. So if I get a woolen preparation and I spin it with a worsted draft, I'm gonna get a semi-woolen yarn. So you know if it's semi-woolen, it's because the preparation was woolen. Semi-worsted, it's because the preparation was worsted, the fiber preparation. Okay? This is my Aura spinning wheel, and it has a double drive. So it's in the back, it's not connected to the bobbin. This is perfect to spin worsted. I'm spinning a thin yarn that I want for a pullover for myself. And I'm also using the Lazy Kate. All this makes the pull slower. Because I'm spinning a thin yarn, I need to put more twist on my fiber. Because I wanted a thin yarn, I need more twist. So I need the spinning wheel to pull it slower, the fiber in. So that's a good way to get a thin yarn spun. The other thing, if you see my hands, I'm not allowing the air to go through to the fiber source. So I'm holding it, I pull it, pull a little bit more, my fingers come, there's no air because I'm squeezing the air out of the fiber triangle, if you can see a triangle here. But I'm pulling it out. So this is spinning worsted. No air is coming to the source. So now because I want a yarn that is very fluffy and full of air inside, I prefer to use my Victoria Rouette that has a Scott tension, and if you see, the tension is also in the bobbin itself. What it makes, it pulls the wool faster, and if it pulls the wool faster, it's gonna give me last twist, because I want last twist in this yarn. I want it to trap a lot of air and to be woolen. So the thing I'm doing is, I don't know if you can see the triangle very well, but I get my hand and I let it go, and I pull a little bit more fiber, and I let it go, and I pull the fiber and I let it go, and then this is giving me a woolen yarn. I could do a long draw. Because I put silk in this one, it's not working that well with the long draw. But the long draw basically is you have to use a woolen preparation like this, and then you just let it go in. So as you see, the twist is getting into the fiber. Every time you do a woolen yarn, you have thick and thin, because it's the nature of that. If you don't like too much of the difference, you can always go there and pull a little bit. But the best is for you not to touch much the fiber, because you want the air going in there, okay? In this case, what I decided to use is another video from Interweave that she talks about spinning bulk yarns. That what I'm doing, I'm just pulling the yarn and letting it go on the bobbin. Okay, so I'm just pulling it and letting it go. And for this fiber specifically, let me just show you. I had 2 yarns that I tested. So this yarn, I used long draw. That is a way of spinning, right? The one that you just pull it. And this one, I did this technique that I just let it go through, where I am spinning very slow, but I'm using the wheel in the way that the pulling draft is the highest that I have, because I want it very soft. So I'm just letting it go through, very little twist. And when I look at both were Navajo ply back, this yarn is much softer. So that's why I decided to spin in this way, with this drafting method, right? Here is a little bit too much. I can stop my wheel and just go. And again, I'm using the technique that Sarah Anderson gave me to top. If I see that I'm pulling too much from one side, I just flip my prepared fiber, and I can pulling it. And in this case, I put some silk in this blend. And I noticed that what happens when you're pulling, what is underneath tends to wrap the yarn. So even though I have some silk in between, I put more silk at the end of the carded back. And then I try to leave the silk on the bottom part. And when I pull, I know it will come more silk to the exterior side instead of being just wrapped by the thing. And you can fix it here, or you can, when you see big lobs like that, or when you are carding. Again, my yarn is not going to be the same thickness all the way, but it's okay because that's what I like. And because I do a 3-ply, it helps to make the yarn rounder, even though it's not a consistent yarn like this yarn is going to be, or more consistent, let's say, than this yarn. But that's what I wanted from the project. Okay, so that's the difference between worsted and woolen spinning. So you have different ways to spin worsted or woolen. I just gave you an example for you to see how I let the air go through my fiber or not. Okay, so this is trapping the air inside because the twist is going to my source. And when I spun the blue fiber, I was spinning it in a way that I was assured no air was going to get trapped in. Okay, so we talked about how yarn is really fiber and twist. And there are different ways to put twist in your yarn. If you want it with air going through or trapping air inside the yarn, you're going to have a woolen yarn. And if you want a smooth yarn, it's going to be worsted, and you're going to have the yarn. You're not going to allow air to be between where you put the twist and your fiber source. So yesterday I showed a little bit the difference spinning it, and now what I would want to talk is that the kind of fiber that the preparation that you do to the fiber is going to make your yarn worsted, semi-worsted, woolen, or semi-woolen. So I mentioned that yesterday. If you have a preparation like a carded Beth or a woven, these are woolen preparation. But if you spin it, taking the air out, it's going to be a semi-woolen because it was spun worsted, but with preparation that is woolen. If you, on the other hand, use a preparation that is worsted, like a top, a commercial top, but you roll it, make some roll-logs out of it, and then you spin it woolen, it's going to be semi-worsted. So there are different ways to prepare your yarn, your fiber, and that's going to change your yarn too. Yesterday we worked with the commercial yarn and with the woven that I have prepared myself, right? So I'm just going to show you some of the ways, and I'm going to start with the combed because I can comb too. This is going to be just a quick view because I am going to go into detail with each one. I want to do a research and then come back to you on the subject. So when you're doing a combing, you're going to put not too much wool on it because it's going to fluff up. Because it generates static, some people like to put some oil in it. If you do, just be aware that you should spin it soon after, because otherwise the oils will turn out, will make it greasy, right, if you leave it for too long. One good thing about combing is that you take away some of the vegetable material when you're doing it. So start at the tips, don't try to get it from the inside. So you are starting at the tip, and if you see there is already some static in it, I don't mind it, I rather do that. You can put just some water or not. And this is just a quick review, we're going to get into it. The thing with the combing is that you have a lot of waste. You can use this waste for needle felting, or some people say they can even card. I honestly, I just throw it out. I was reading yesterday Rita Buchanan's ebook. So Interweave has an ebook on Spinner's Questions by Rita Buchanan. And I thought it was cool. She mentioned that from 10 to 20% waste is normal. If you have more than that, then that's a problem, right? Then you should review your fiber. Buchanan, in her other video, she mentioned that you should do at least 3 times to pass the fiber from one comb to the other. I noticed that my comb has a lot of marks here, and that means I'm doing it wrong. So be careful not to damage your comb when you are putting the fibers through. So this is my third. I just want to show you how it would be. So I'm going to put this here. And then what you need is a Dies. Okay? So you can have beautiful Dieses, different wood ones. I do have a wood one that I use with my carder. But I was watching another video about fiber wool, and she said that she uses the knitting gauge as a Dies. And what you should do is you should choose a Dies depending on the diameter of the singles that you want to spin. So if you want a very thin like this, so it should be a little bit bigger than what you want to spin. I'm going to get just an amount here in the middle, and then you just pull. And when you put it, you have to have your Dies in the direction that you want to go. And you just keep going until you take everything out. I like when I watch some videos from Judith Mackenzie, and she spins directly from the comb. I haven't tried this yet. I could have done a better job in this one, but this is just an example because I can still see vegetable material in the fiber. And as if you see, I'm putting the knitting gauge on a different direction now because I'm going back there. Okay? And then you have a hand-made top. And to spin from this is really nice because the fiber is fresh, it's very soft, it's really good. So you can have a commercially made comb, or you can have a handmade comb. And that's very, very nice to spin. You should try it. So if I do this, I'm going to have a worsted yarn because I'm putting the fibers in parallel. And there are advantages and disadvantages to the system. Also be very careful if you have children or pets to put your comb separate afterwards in a safe place. Okay? So they say that the true worsted yarn is made with a combed yarn. And the true woolen yarn is made of rowlogs. I'm not very good at this. I'm sure going to try better. So this is my blending board. My husband bought the fiber and then he put it together for me. And it was pretty good because I got the blending board and I also got a few tools with it. So some flickers and stuff to work with it. And so the way you do it, again, I'm not that good at this. I'll do some more training and then I will definitely try to go with you. Preferably try to have an area that you are, use a clamp to the table. The thing with the Rolex, you can't do it too tight because otherwise it's going to become very hard. So you pull, let it a little bit loose, and then now I want it all out, and then you can do like this. And the better you do your roll lock, the best it's going to be for you to do your long draw. I have a friend, she does beautiful, Rosalind, she makes beautiful roll logs. It's really a source of inspiration. So I'm not that good. The blending board is good for you to blend fibers and also to blend colors. So you just push, roll, let it a little bit loose because you don't want it to be too tight. Push. It really helps to have your blending board stable. So again, you take it off and you have a roll leg. And in future videos, I'm going to do long draw with roll legs and everything else. So this is the roll leg. The other thing that I wanted to show is the carder, the batches. So I have done a batch for you. This was previously done. It's alpaca. It's just amazing. And I did this because I want to blend. So I prepared the alpaca that I had first, and I'm going to be blending it with some other fibers, right? So this is the yarn I'm working now. I want to make a sweater for my husband. So I'm working on this fiber. It's also very soft. It's alpaca, merino, and silk. You can see the silk here. And you can see some areas where the silk is that that are shinier than others. And that's what I want, because when I dye, these shiny areas will give it a different light to the yarn. So, but now I'm going to show you how I am getting to this point. Okay, so this is my carder, my new carder, and I love it. And if I just took everything out, it would become a bat. But for me, it's easier to spin if I make it as a woven. What I'm using, this is a wood thing to help you ply, have more plies. I don't like it for plying, but I do like it for as a disc for me to take my wool out of the carpet. So in reality, everything that has a hole can become a disc, a button, everything, right? The knitting gauge is what I thought was good for that, but for my carder, I prefer to do this. So now what I'm going to do is just turn on my carder. So I'm going to start pulling a little bit, and then I turn my carder on very slow. You can do it on your hand carder too, because I used to do that on mine. And all you have to do is keep your disc towards the area that you want the fiber to come. And obviously I put a lot of fiber, that's why it is getting chunks from other areas. But this makes it easier for me to spin. So if I wanted a woven that was thinner, all I had to do was to use a thinner disc. So I'm just getting the end here. And that's it. So then I'll just roll it and I have my fiber ready to spin. And it's very soft and beautiful. So as I told you, the reason I'm doing these videos is to improve myself, because when I'm talking about something, I feel the need to read more so that I can give a better information. I also hope that some of you would put comments below, and then this way I'll be able to learn from your comments, and I'm studying too. For this reason, I'm going to be coming back to each kind of preparation later on, and also we're going to talk more about plying and other aspects of spinning. So thank you very much for watching, and see you next time. Bye! Isso aqui, oh, é pouquinho de Brasil, iaia.